There we go. Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Ajay the African. Now, this is a special experience. This is a special experience because I was not planning to start 2025 with this one, but we starting with this one. And we're gonna sit down and go through this thing, and we talking about tonight. We talking about what do you know about Garveyism? What do you know about Pan Africanism? What do you know about the liberation theology? What do you know about the science of becoming? What do you know about what we call the shrine Bila Kuta? What do you know? And so very few times do I get an opportunity to actually put my community on a spotlight or my community on blast. Now there's a new segment that is being developed. This is, they're coming up with it. They powwow and they working it out. And so in that space, they said, brother, can you give us a hand so that we can talk about the Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church and the movement that we have toward developing and embodying social media. And I said, before we get started, I want to go back over all of this, because I can't bring the community on live until we do these prerequisites. Major Colomo, member of the community, said sometimes people forget that we still on a struggle. We're still in the liberation struggle. We're still on a mission. So you have black people all over being black, but very few of us are focused on that prime mission. And that's why I said, what do you know about Garveyism? Because you can't sit in these seats if you don't understand Garveyism. And in that space, we know Garvey created the largest black organization that we can even imagine. Talking about Africa for the Africans. And he was talking about it on a physical sense. But now when we say Africa for the Africans, we're talking about everywhere. Anywhere that there's a person of African descent, that's Africa for us. Africa for the Africans, because at one point, it was straight up called Pangea. And so before the earth separated, we weren't even continental, but we're minimizing ourselves to being continental. But when you sit down and say, what do you know about Garveyism? You understand that Garvey said, yeah, we about going home and being a people. And then from Garvey, that understanding grew to the understanding of what is Pan-Africanism. What? When you sit down and understand and realize that we were not a continental people, we were a people of the planet. So it didn't matter where you stand, anywhere a black person has their feet on solid ground. And if you live on a boat, you're floating. But anywhere they have their feet on solid ground, that is sacred land. That's sacred ground. Why? Because we started from the center of the earth, which was the continent of Africa. And then it separated. So does that mean that if I go to Australia, I'm not home? We are a global, we are planetary people. Pan-Africanism. And so when you're dealing with your spiritual journey, you gotta embrace Garvey. Because Garvey said black is beautiful. He gave us who we are. And then you got to embrace Pan-Africanism. And as you continue to embrace Pan-Africanism, you got to go deep, even still, and talk about the liberation theology that came out of the concept of Pan-Africanism. And when I want to explain liberation theology, of course, I got to put up our founder, Jemoja Baby Ajime. And some may not give him the title of being the father of the liberation theology, but we do. Because it's more than just a concept of it's what you do with it. Meaning that liberation theology, it is a divine obligation that you fight not for just for your civil rights. Civil rights are the manifestation of the laws of man, but we talking about your human rights. We talking about human rights for black people all over. And then you create those institutions, manifesting institutional power. He said the church is a change agent, meaning it is to get you from that conditioned self to that divine self. We talk about the group as our salvation. You cannot understand what we about to talk about tonight if you don't deal with the prerequisites. And in our teachings at the PAOCC, we had something that we used to call the science of Kua. And it is the understanding of knowing thyself, the science of becoming what you already are. And that is ancient. Knowing thyself is not Greek. It's not European. They got it from us when they were coming over to the continent of Africa to study. They got it from us. And now we're asking ourselves to do our own lessons. And so now we move from the science of Kua to and so this is where we are. This is the sound's not coming through, brother. There we go. There you go. I appreciate you. So we call it the best self theology. Why? Because what is your best self if not it's being able to see the God in you when you look in the mirror? Being able to see the God in every black person when you look at someone else. This is the best self. We're not trying to get you to be a great individual. We're trying to get you to be a being in the Creator. Again, you cannot understand the importance of Bila Kuta unless you understand the prerequisites. And this is the prerequisites. And so it's very rare in our development that you get to see Garveyism, Pan-Africanism, liberation theology, and the science of becoming, or we call it the best self theology, in one location. It's rare to see all of those in one location. You want to know what birthed the African? Man, if I tell you that the Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church manned me up, this is where you get it from. So it is my honor to sit down and bring forward the community of Bila Kuta. How y'all doing?
Hey, Ajay. What's going on?
Hey, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going?
Thanks for hosting us.
No problem. No, it was an honor. It's a pleasure. I don't always get to be up front to bring my community to the forefront of technology, but when I heard the ask, you know how we do it. You know, being missionaries. You know, here I am, Lord, send me.
Send me. That's right.
Here I am, Lord, send me. And then and all the time, and as we begin to talk, my name means is Ajay Akono Tahimba. Prophet, it is your turn. Stand as a nation because God is with us. And so there is no way that I could live in that name, have that name, and not live in it in terms of my actions when it comes to the liberation of black people. And that's the importance of also knowing thyself, putting all these things together. And so as we begin and we start talking about Bila Kuta, without walls,
yes, brother.
Without walls, can you, and here it's a conversation of imagining, just imagining, if y'all can get that, people, imagine what it's like to really be one people, one group.
That's a hell of a concept, isn't
it? It's a powerful concept. And so in that space, how and knowing that this is what Bila Kuta is, it is culture without walls. It is worship without walls. It is African spirituality without walls.
It's thinking outside the box.
Way outside we never had a box. Right. Destroying the box and understanding that, well, the concept of us being planetary people. And Bila Kuta, how does Bila Kuta equate being planetary, meaning that the whole God placed black people here first?
Yes, brother.
And so how do you see the vision of Bila Kuta being able to move into that space where we are literally a nation without walls?
So let me just chime in, because I appreciate the intro and the groundwork that you set in terms of acclimating us to what BCN, Black Christian Nationalism, is, and what our founder, Jeremiah Bebe, put in place as he was building this movement. This movement was started because he understood our plight as a people, our plight as long as we've been here on these shores of America and anywhere else in the diaspora in terms of where we landed from Africa, that Black people are always at the back end of things. We're always the oppressed, always getting the last resources and so forth. But that didn't mean we had to be last. If we united and came together with an understanding that we are our brothers' keepers and sisters' keepers, then we could build anything we wanted to build. Just like Garvey, just like who you mentioned earlier. Garveyism was about building and being self-determining. And so Jaramogi, Reverend Clegg, was about the business of building programs and institutions to empower our community, African people all around the world. And so we started in Detroit, building that organization, that movement, and then expanding, having a program, having an idea, a vision, a model to work from, being able to get people to understand that we can count on one another. We didn't have to believe what the Declaration of Black Inferiority was, given that white racist ideal of we're not good enough. We didn't have to sit next to white people to learn. We didn't have to do that. We don't need, all we need is resources and the finances to grow. We have the minds. We were doing it thousands and thousands of years before Europe came into Africa. So it's not that we haven't done this before. It's something that we just need to get back on board with. So yes, so Shrine Bila Kuta, Shrine Without Walls, is a movement that came out of the pandemic. We were actually live streaming. We moved from Detroit to Atlanta and Houston. We bought a farm in South Carolina, the largest Black-owned farm in the United States. And then we have satellite offices in Liberia, Africa. So the church is expanding, but there's one place we still hadn't gone, and so the pandemic kind of pushed it into an environment that required us to use technology, not only to keep ourselves together as a church community, because we were in 5 different places, but to reach other folk outside of the 5 places that we were. And so we found in that space that people were still interested in us, still interested in the movement, interested in what we were doing. And so once the pandemic was over and we went back into our faith centers, our geographical faith centers, the current leader, Jaramogi's current bishop, presiding bishop, said, well, we need to stay in this space. We need to continue to reach people and be able to greet people, not close the doors on technology. So Shrine Bila Kuta meaning without walls, Shrine Without Walls, has been in operation for the last 2 years. We've been going strong. And what you see here tonight is kind of the fellowship, a small number of the fellowship that have been with us for over 6 months. And so we're building a fellowship here. And the question you asked is, why is it important? It's because we believe our program needs to be heard for Black people all around the world. We need to understand that we need to come together in terms of building institutions for ourselves. We all have gifts to bear. And if we respect one another and consider one another as resources, we can go anywhere at any place.
One of the things that I always do, and I didn't get a chance to do this, and I want to do this, we didn't let people know what your name is. And then now, not only when you say your name, tell them the meaning of it and how that experience manifests in this journey, in your personal journey, and in the journey also to continue Bila Kuta.
So I'll start off, and I think everyone here doesn't have an African name, but they
We know.
may have something they want to share. So
Mm-hmm.
that's fine also. But I'm Reverend Ahmed Willie. I'm from Detroit. My name means God has convinced me. It was given to me in '92, I believe, by my BTG group leader in confirmation. So I had an experience long before I came into the church, but the church was a vehicle that lifted me spiritually because I was brought up in the church. But the church never, at some point, I was disheartened by the church because it was not speaking to the realities I was experiencing until I walked into the doors of the Shrine of the Black Madonna. And so it's from here that I began to grow. But I am Reverend Ahmed Willie out of Detroit, Michigan.
And how did you get to sit in the seat that you're sitting in right now, Rev?
Well, I've been willing to serve. When the questions came up, will you go and who will go for us? I have a habit of saying yes, send me. So yeah, it's been a journey. So I went through 16 weeks of basic training, which we used to call basic training group. 6 weeks of that, I went to several ATG groups, advanced training groups. So I was a missionary at one time. I was inducted into the Holy Order of the Maccabees, which is a utilitarian group in the church that serves to not only protect, but to serve or be vehicles of whatever the church needs.
Right, that's what Maccabee is. Whatever you need at that time, that's what you become. And then if they don't need you, you still here.
So Maccabees is related to the two books in the Apocrypha of the Bible. Most King James versions, well, King James doesn't have the Apocrypha. But if you get a Jerusalem Bible or you go actually buy a Apocrypha, it has other books that were taken out of the King James version. So the Maccabees was a group. Those are the people who started Hanukkah, the Jewish people who started Hanukkah. And they were black.
Right. Let them know they were black. And that's a part of knowing thyself. Now we have Major Colomo. You know, you just popped up in the center of the page. and one of the things that we said when we were talking about the other day, you sat down and said people are forgetting that we are still on a liberation struggle. It's like as time goes by, and one of my last conversations with Jemoja Baby Ajiman, he said he underestimated the lore that the slave culture would become, where people would literally forget that we still in slavery. It's just not physical. The mental slavery of the black mind is ridiculous. And so you was like, we got to remind people it's still a mission. And so how do you see that manifesting here in Bila Kuta?
Well, one thing, and especially in this specific time, in 2005, it's already certain manifesting stuff that we as black people don't mean anything to this government.
Come on.
Now, at the same time, they are dismantling things that you could say we had to ask for, such as being able to be called a citizen. When they say every man is created equal, but they wouldn't think of us as men and women. So it's a struggle for our survival. Times it's changed somewhat, but we're getting ready to go back to what a lot of people don't even realize, what was Jim Crow. So the struggle continues every day for us to, as black people, to get our own institutions, to become loving black communities across the country. Because the black community has been dissipated. But now we have to come back together. So as we look at as these times down, that sure, it's time for black people to come back together. And the Shrine of the Black Madonna, it's something we've been trying to do for 71 years.
71 years.
Bringing the black communities together. Now, a lot of things, sometimes I wanted to bring this up. Sometimes people say, why you pick Christianity?
Come on.
Now, because a lot of times people get turned off from Christianity.
Come on.
But what people don't realize, that we could pick any religion because black people out of the motherland, discovered, invented all type of religious thoughts and philosophies. Any religion you look at, it comes out of Africa. We could pick Christianity was that's here in America. The man used it against us.
Come on.
So most religions, as we listen to today, have a European interpretation. Have you ever heard the Shrine of the Black Madonna Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church interpretation of the Bible?
Come on.
Once you hear that, you understand that there's a people coming into being. You cannot take the Bible literally, every word he said, but it's a black nation coming into being. God said, I will be your God if you be my people. And that is all throughout the Bible, especially the Old Testament. Now you have to understand why we can pick Christianity. We can pick any religion we want. It's a black man's struggle of people being a people under what God has gave them the right to be. Amen.
Amen, brother. Look, I'm sitting here writing, taking notes. Because one of the things you said is about black. We were always all about bringing the black community together, and that's it. And so now, in our concept and understanding, there's one time I wrote, and I got to speak in front of the church, where I wasn't the. It was a statement saying that the concept of Garvey technology finally was able to catch up to the concept of Garvey. He had to catch a boat. He had to catch a train. I don't know what that man did. How many letters did he have to write to get 9 million black people under one umbrella for the movement and the development of our being? And so Bila Kuta having social media, having the internet, having, again, and I said at COVID, and Jamoji Kamathi said it, it takes a great people to go into a pandemic and come out better than they did when they went in there. And so developing that understanding that, wait, this technology, we could, because at one point we really wasn't touching it. Wait a minute. We might have to be able to use these techniques. We're going to have to use this new tool of communication to increase that. Because it's not only that black people in the United States, but we're talking about black people all over. And now we realize when you're dealing with Garveyism, and now we're in the Pan-Africanism, everywhere everybody's fed up with being in a government that does not serve the needs of the spiritual being that we are. And that's what you said when you talked about we can choose Christianity, but if you deal with it in its purest form, it is to get you back to the power of the divine that is within you. And that's when I said that's why we couldn't go without those prerequisites. And so we don't push away. We say, okay, we understand that you might be in the stake of Bila Kuta. We understand that you may not become a Christian according to how we define it. If you want to be a Muslim, be a Muslim. But guess what? Do you share the concept of Pan-Africanism? Do you share the concept of Garveyism? Are you tired of the government? Can we finally get to a point where we have an umbrella where we can collaborate and be one community globally? Because it's the concept of not only being a family here in the States and having institutions that serves our interests, is also being able to help other individuals as well as build in other areas.
And I would add that I would piggyback on that. The group is our salvation. That's what we say in the church. So it's about, I can only get better if my group of black people around the world are better. So the Ubuntu concept of I am because we are because I am, is very present in our theology and our program. So it's about building not only ourselves, but we see the divine in each of us. We all bring something to the table. We all have something to offer. And that's really the concept, I think, that you saw in Garveyism, which is a Pan-African movement. And that's what Jim Moji, Reverend Clegg was trying to institute also, that's what we're doing today.
Exactly. And in that, I'm sorry, Major. I meant to ask you the meaning of your name, my brother, and how did it manifest in the PAOCC? Tell your story.
Well, my name is Waligu Major Kalomo Kamau Masai. Kalomo means the unexpected. Kamau means the quiet warrior. Masai derives from being a very proud African people, the Masai tribe. Well, Kalomo is the unexpected people. I'm a long-time member. I'm a part of what people call the Philadelphia Cadre. At that time, we were in Philadelphia. We didn't have any physical buildings. And we joined out of Detroit and went back to Philly because J.M.O. Baby Algerman said, if you're serious, go back there and organize.
Mm.
At that time, they said I was the unexpected because I would do anything to try to bring the shrine into Philadelphia. We talked to people, we leafletized to people. People could not understand. We read Black Christian nationalism from cover to cover, Black Messiah from cover to cover. And we went out in the Philadelphia area, really trying to talk to people. I did things what they would call unexpected because I would get on a soapbox and would actually talk about Black Christian nationalism. As for Kamal, I became a Maccabee back in Philadelphia, where we weren't originally a Maccabee, but we had to have some type of security. And they said, called me the quiet warrior. Basically, I was the trainer for the Maccabees in Philly until we went to Detroit. As Messiah, Black people, very, very proud. To say I'm a proud Black man, then the name Messiah. Just to put the top on the iceberg. I can say I'm part of the Philadelphia Cadre, which in tune with the shrine holds in very high regards. We did not know that. We thought we were just doing what Black Christian nationalists are supposed to do. And, very few of us left now, because it's been many, many, many years. Say we joined and we went back to Philly, started on April 1st, April Fool's Day, 1973. And the rest has been history.
Rest is history. There are tons of stories of Black people having the experience of serving the Creator. And I remember Gimbal was on a show one time with us, and he said the most you want to experience God, serve other people. And being able to serve Black people in the Black nation is definitely. I was 2 years old. Who did that? Who said it's your time now, sister. You was 2. So wait, so when you came through, and she said, I was 2. I saw the little quote on the bottom. Now, and this is a thing because we talk about Garveyism to Pan-Africanism to liberation theology. Now we're going to the best self theology, the science of becoming exactly who God called you to be, and to be in here at 2.
Well, we talk about Bila Kuta. Let her tell her story and how she got connected to
Yes, please do that too.
I'm not going to say I was connected at 2. I was 2 in 1973.
Oh, okay.
But I got connected to Bila Kuta. Ironically, it was like October 2019 at the Black Urban Growers Conference. Reverend Eva Brown was the closing speaker. What he said impacted me so much, and I was way in the back because I wanted to be the first one to get out. You know how conferences are. I was sitting in the back so I could leave, but I went all the way through the crowd to the front to talk to him. And when I told him I was from South Carolina, way back when he told me about y'all. And, it was also, that was after I had met like Malika Keeney also like in 2012, I think. And, long story short, like I find myself like in a position for national organization supporting that Baba Malik co-founded too, the national organization that I'm with, to support like farmers and food entrepreneurs. And when I was going to celebrate like the grand opening at in Detroit of the food co-op, several people came up and said, "You look like somebody's daughter." I was like, "No, I'm from South Carolina." So the young woman that was there with me invited me to church the next day, and here I am.
Woohoo! Now I'm going to ask to tap in to that mindset of yours, because you mentioned the Black urban growers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have a farm. We have the largest Black-owned farm, Bugleland Farm. And now, one of the things that, in terms of vision, your imagination is the manifestation of creation. That is when you walk into your God zone. And Abu Bakr, I'm gonna pull you in a few minutes. In terms of have you been to the farm? Have you seen the farm?
Yeah, I registered for the conference at the grand opening weekend.
Tell us, how do you envision Bila Kuta being used to connect urban farmers here in the States to farmers overseas around the country, distribution? They said the next set of billionaires out of Africa are going to come from agriculture.
Yeah. We are. I'm actively working with a farm that I co-founded in North Charleston on like less than an acre that looks like Costa Rica, like the bananas and the sugar cane and all the stuff, using ancestral practices and stuff. But like the vision for me is that we recreate the Black foodways that we had, so that like what we put in our mouths, we were paid to grow, and that everybody in that system of Black people, that's like our merchants look like us again. And that's what like my national job does. So like I'm literally talking to my boss today about how do we connect like the Detroit opening up the way that they did made a lot of things possible in the Midwest, and I want to see how we do it in the South, where there's like somebody who can do the the economies of scale that we can't get in a small store, modular building as a store. So like the distributor, like the grower, the processor, milling, all of that, every part of that, like is a job held by Black people feeding their neighbors.
Being able to feed yourself. We're going back into Garveyism. Self-determination. Self-determination, the foundation if it's not a part of your spiritual process, I don't know if you're in the spiritual process. If you don't have self-determination a part of what you're doing, I can't. And that's the thing, because again, you have Garveyism, you have Pan-Africanism, you have liberation theology to get to your spiritual self. But if you sit there saying, you know what, I just want to continue to go to Kroger's and get what Kroger's give me, and we don't even know what they put in that food. If you're not dealing with the issue of self-determination, food, clothes, and shelter of yourself, do you really have a spiritual practice? Again, there's only one place where I said that you can find all of it in one location. And and I imagined it with my daughter, imagined what it would be like to sit down and actually create the transport company that has to take not only the food on the farm around the country, but overseas. And again, using those practices, because wherever we are, like you said, we have ancient practices. We are growers. I don't have my thumb ain't green, it's brown. But we are, and this is a part of knowing thyself. Knowing thyself and being able to reach those individuals who can also train us And this is how you have it when you're dealing with a lot of black people around the country, and around the world live in what they call, was it food deserts? Ain't that something?
That's the government name. We call it food apartheid.
And that exactly. And then the issue of not only food apartheid and the food deserts, but they said if you eat toxic, you are toxic. If you eat toxic, you are toxic. So you have a lot of people who still, hey, I'm deeply spiritual, but I'm still having a slave diet. But you seeking God, and again, how are we getting to that point where we are actually truly becoming what the Creator called us to become in our efforts to even feed ourselves? Now, Abu Bakr, you got a big thumb, but your thumb green, my brother. Why'd you disappear?
There he is.
Take it. You're on speaker. You on mute. Unmute yourself. Now, I said the other day that technology has no age, and the brother said, "Teach me. I'm ready." Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect, loud and clear.
Oh yeah. How's everybody doing?
Great.
My name is Abu Bakr Jabari Dunkar. Abu Bakr means humble person. Jabari means peaceful. Dunkar means brave. I came to them out of the world into the church in 1987. I was out in the world, and I had no purpose other than working, partying, and all those things came to an end. I didn't get no more enjoyment out of it, and I needed another purpose, and that's how when I became a seeker to make changes in my life, I had a lot of consciousness raising up in Memphis. A lot of us had a lot of conscience, but a lot of us didn't have nowhere to go with our consciousness. And the Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church presented me with a place to go with black consciousness. And I learned so much about our history and our people from Africa. I tell the story about how I started out being about our people from Rama the Jungle, and Tarzan being one of them. Who was these people on the program? And I was watching some of the spiritual things that they were showing it on the TV and stuff like that, and I became very
intrigued. Yeah,
wanted to know who those people was. And then I kept my spirit wanting to know, and wanting to know. It led me to the Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church, where I could find out everything about the African people.
Where did your skill for farming come from?
I was raised up on the farm.
Oh.
Yeah, so I raised up on the farm. My father was after I got older, we had two thing going on. When I was about 7 years old, I was able to hold a plot and plow the field. He was a gardener, and so he always, once he got me started, he took care of the garden. I took care of the other part of the field until my other brothers got old enough to help out. And I learned a little skill from him, but he the one that had the green thumb, or he could grow anything. But I did learn something from him, just watching him, because I never worked in the garden that much because I was always doing other things.
Now,
and I was taking care of the other crops.
How big was the garden? How big was his garden?
Oh, it's about an acre and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now what
we sold? We grow stuff, but we sold it too. That's what when the season was, we sold stuff to the community.
And he owned that land?
No, we were sharecroppers.
Mm.
We got land later on. Later on, but during that time we were sharecroppers.
Now during COVID, we wound up doing more urban farming.
Yeah.
And again, Bila Kuta, without walls. Being outside farming is literally without walls. How was that experience of you seeing what you were doing in the sections of Akibaland Park? How was the experience of you seeing the community coming together via urban farming?
Yeah, it was good. It was very rewarding for us to come together in the community and stuff like that, and growing stuff. It was very rewarding, and the community people come around and watch us working in the garden. You know how the people come around. They come down to the fence. Sometimes I be out there working. They want to talk to me. So you know, about farming and stuff like that. A lot of the old people came out to farm themselves. They wanted to come to talk to me. You know, because I had left the farm and I came back to it when I came back to Bila Land, because I had told I had made a promise to myself I would not do none of that stuff no more.
Right.
But I came back to it when I went to Bila Land on that Bila Land day. I was back country again.
Becoming what you already are. We are growers. We're definitely growers.
I was back ready to get back get my hand in the dirt.
Hey, Abu Bakr mentioned something that a lot of y'all young folks don't know about. Everybody heard about Tarzan. But when he said Rama the jungle, now I know that's a big yarn what y'all ever heard about. This they showed on TV.
Yeah.
This white guy goes to Africa and he becomes the king of say all the guys with the white helmets on in there leading safaris and stuff like that. But if you actually look at it, he couldn't, and we running around looking like savages. But the point was, if you really look at it, the white man could not do nothing without the brothers and sisters that was actually showing him the pathway with how to, deal with animals and stuff like that. But then the aspect that they showed on TV to show that we as a people were just savages, that, hey, that we were just savages and he was the big leader. He was the big white chief. And Rama, they show that on TV all the time. It's called Rama of the jungle.
Well, one of the things about that is that when they got into trouble and they stole those arts and things like that, and they had to take them, the good guys, bad guys stole them, and the good guys and the other natives, they returned those back to those caves, and then the jungle and the animals were kept the bad guys.
You trick. Look. Major Colomo, you triggering some childhood memories in the brother. He going through the episodes. You triggering episodes. We gonna steer the ship back. Exactly. Well, and now talking about Bila Kuta without walls, being able to give. Because a lot of people don't do social media. A lot of people, conscious people are not online. But what is the real image of the African globally? Having the opportunity to be able to give our narrative of who we are, how we live, how we think, and how we fed into so many different societies, and you don't want to give us credit. And then being able to say we are without walls. And having that level of consciousness finally seep through in how we feed each other, because teaching each other, and this is the concept of Bugle Land and Black urban growers, is being able to do that and say, look, we were the ones who brought this to you because we lived in a plentiful land. The commerce in Africa before the invasion of the European genotype, we were trading with the world. And going back to the concept of Bila Kuta picking up only thing where we left off. We're seeking to be able to create that experience, and that's another thing. Walamu and Badwili, have we talked about how to incorporate that aspect of farming and growing and transporting and seeing what people need? Has that been a part of the vision of Bila Kuta?
The vision of the Pan African Orthodox Christian Church is multifaceted.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
So Bila Kuta is trying to. We need help from everybody, all African people around the world. As you see, as you heard earlier, we have resources for people who know things about farming. I've been in the city all my life, and when Jeremiah Bebe said we're going to get a farm, I didn't raise my hand in terms of going to the farm.
I didn't either.
I'm just saying. But I know African people have been farming all out. You know, we've been doing this. My father had a garden. So we know something about farming, and we have young people who are now coming on board who know something about our history, who know something about farming, who have gifts to bear, and so we want to reach out and make the Shrine's resources available, or we can collaborate with. Maybe they're already doing it. Maybe we can collaborate information. So that's where Bila Kuta fits in. We want to open the doors so that we can collaborate with folks all over the place. So that's really what we're trying to do. We have a Beulah Land Farm Committee who's actually spearheading and looking at things and visions for how to best place Beulah Land. There's plenty of land. All we need is strategies and resources and those kind of things. People to strategize and make plans to move forward. Jim Oji Menali Kamathi is doing an excellent job in terms of ordering where we are now and placing us in a place where we can launch Beulah Land in a better light to take advantage of our land and use it in better ways.
And I'm going to have to run, but I love to hear like where you're saying the Beulah Land is going, and I would love to participate on that committee if I could. But I do the funding and I go work with the National Black Food and Justice Alliance. Biodune is a member too, like out Atlanta. But would love to talk to Baba Judah, Tariq, and then whomever else is on the committee about like what those steps are and how we can support. I
appreciate that. I got your names.
Yeah, I appreciate the young people trying getting on the farm, because most young people that they don't go to the farm that much. I appreciate you for doing that.
Oh no, it's my pleasure, and I brought mine when we were little, when they were little.
Okay.
So they got used to it early.
Excellent.
Yeah, but nice meeting everybody.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you, Jermaine. We'll see you again.
Okay. Yes.
Peace.
Peace.
Now, before I know, because Karima's not online, but she'll tell you I could talk all night, y'all.
Newer members, we want to make sure.
So we want to make sure, right? So that's why I want to start with the new any of the new members in regards to your experience in Bila Kuta. Have you any visions in terms of how you see this being able to be moved forward, how it's helping you, or how you're connecting? Anybody want to share?
Yeah, I'll say something real quick. I'll chime in.
And so, how did you connect? How did you get connected with Bila Kuta?
Well, I first started. I'm down here in Houston, and I first started going to the shrine back in like 2016. And like one of the brothers said earlier, when I first went there, it just automatically connected my soul, because I've always been one that seek knowledge and being conscious and try to get in tune with my culture, my history. So when I walked to the shrine down here in Houston, it just felt right for me. But after that, I kind of got away from it for a little while because of my lifestyle. But I started going back, and then I said maybe about 6 months to a year ago, right after COVID hit, it dawned on me. I said, well, hey, how can I get back in contact, get back in touch? And then that's when I started, seeing the church services online, and people saying stuff online. So I just kind of wanted to connect online, and that's how I got turned on to Bila Kuta. And ever since then, I try to make it, a consistent thing, but life happened. But I'm back here, and I love it, and how I see it going forward. But what you guys are doing now, what we're doing right now, this is a beautiful thing, and we can take this and continue going forward, and make it a global thing, a worldwide thing. This is wonderful. This is beautiful.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you. And was it Javon? Is that how you say your name, my brother?
No, Tremaine.
No, Tremaine. No, but Javon's sitting over there in the corner. We appreciate you, Tremaine. Javon's sitting over there. He started moving his camera like, oh, shoot, don't get me. Don't get me.
I just wanted to get the right angle.
Okay.
But, yeah, so I came across Bila Kuta just by doing some research, on Pan-Africanism, Orthodox Church, particularly Garvey movement. Doing that research, and then, in your searches, it pops up, the Pan-African Orthodox Church. Then I started to watch sermons many years ago online. Then I stopped for, a couple of years, and then just doing some more research, I went back, came across my my research again, and then I said, okay, well, let me try to engage now, let me see if I could make connection. And sure enough, I think Bila Kuta had just started in existence, maybe for like a year, right? So I was like, okay, this is good now, because there's a whole community dedicated to online interactions. Moving forward, where we're going, in the 21st century and whatnot, this is going to be necessary. We're not even talking about what COVID has done, to society. We're just talking about that engagement and people who find the philosophy and the works of the Pan-African Orthodox Church of value, right? Because for me, I haven't been in church for many years, right? Outside of, funerals and weddings, right? But I grew up in the church. I made my way. My consciousness started to expand, and it kind of moved away from the church setting. But I was like, if I have to be engaged in the church again, it has to speak my language politically and spiritually, right? So if I'm pulling myself an African and I'm trying to live that lifestyle, in pride and all its being, then my spirituality has to connect with that, right? And of course, I have to find a unit or a space where that can be honed and celebrated. So, I started researching Jaramogi, and much like Garvey, he was speaking it and doing it at the same time.
At the same time, come on.
So it was like, okay, so why would it not want to be part of this rich tradition? Because Garvey was building a movement, and that movement was building institutions. Jaramogi was building an institution that became a movement.
Come on.
Right? And this, we're talking about 71, 72 years later. So there's something of value here, and why not be a part of it?
Come on.
So now what we have to do is take it globally, and Bila Kuta is that, right? So I've been a faithful follower for about the last 4 months. And I love it. I love Rev. He's embraced me. We drove, all the elders. I listen to their stories. I get goosebumps. Think about the struggle that they went through to build this institution for the last 70+ years, right? That's not a small feat. And I try to tell them, every time I get an opportunity to tell them, I appreciate the stories that they're sharing with me, because now followers and people that want to be interacting with the church on a level, now we have to make sure that their stories are told, and all to take the church into the new century and what that's going to be and what it looks like. The theology, the Pan-Africanism, the honing of yourself, your true self.
The honing of your true self. We know about that. Yeah. Now, before we go,
Terry, we have some older members who have moved away from
Okay.
Terry is one of them. I don't know if she's hearing us. Terry, can you hear us? Well, go ahead, Rev.
So we wanna. I wanna talk about for. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, hi. I'm very, very, very. I feel privileged to listen to your inspirational, you know, lecture, and I love hearing about the nation. Love hearing about your land and your progress, and bringing in the young folks. They have all this knowledge that they've gathered, and as an older person who was there in the early days, not the beginning of it, I went there. I think I just come out the army in 1973, and I went there, and I was totally, absolutely floored by what was happening. Because from where I was coming from, they didn't have anything like that going on in the nation, and it was just a hunger in the young people of that time, and myself too. You know, to see black people doing something positive and constructive, and you know, be able to relate to each other. You know, not tearing each other, but relate to each other. And I loved it. I just fell in love with it, and it's just so happened so that sometimes it's not always smooth sailing in young people's lives, and I think I had to go back home to deal with some family problems and stuff, and I never did get quite back to it. But my whole life, I have remembered how beautiful it was to see black people, you know, loving each other and singing together and striving together. And I said, one day I want to look back that direction, see if I can get over that way. And so I found, I think, Bila Kuta, and you have an online presence. And I said, at least I'll show up now and then and listen to it. And I'm hoping the spirit is alive. I would love to see it.
So where are you now, Terry?
I'm in Kingston, New York.
Okay.
That's a beautiful thing.
You know what? She said something very, very important. That she said something back then when she first went there. The hunger of young people during those times, as far as the civil rights movement, and any kind of inkling of black nationalism.
Come on.
Was that hunger for young people that at that time, what the government was placing on us as black people. Like you said, that was the time of, we say, revolutionary or nationalism.
Right. Right.
And it made the younger people go toward that. And I hope what's happening today is going to drive more younger people to come toward what we need to do as national
in this day and time.
Because what happens here as black people happens across the world to all black people.
Exactly. That hunger, that feeling, that connection. One of the things that when I was listening to her talk, and she was experiencing what is truly defined as black love. Watching black love manifest, and the brother was saying not only was we talking liberation, we were building power institutions. So black love looks like something. It's not just a feeling. It creates something. It produces something. It leaves a legacy of something in terms of black love. And so one of the things we always used to say coming up, I've been in the church 30 some odd years, about 32 years. I always still see myself as a young buck, but it's okay. But we always say that we were the black community's best kept secret. And I didn't, and I was ready to shout, but it was like, no, not yet. Come on, let's go. I want to scream it. No, brother, be quiet. Not yet. in this day and time, what us being the best kept secret, and I don't care what anybody says. If you, like the brother said, he did his history. You can sit down and see. And it was when we turned 70. They asked me to do a sermon, and I'm like, wait a minute. You can go through the journey of black people's history here in the United States, and for the last 71 years, we have a place, a stance, a focus, a mission, and you can sit down and say, okay, at this particular time, what was the Shrines of the Black Madonna doing? At this time right here, what were they doing? 71 years. Brother, talk about what it would mean to move the best kept secret in African American history, let alone African history, because we don't have a movement that lasts 71 years. I don't know if we can still point to one.
Here we are. Here we are. And that's what we're doing right
Come
now,
on.
Brother Jay.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
To the next level. We're trying to move to the next level. This is the vehicle. This is the platform where we can spring to reach Black folks all around the world. This is one medium. And our mission is to touch Black people everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
We have an online service on Sundays. People can tune in on on Shrine Online on YouTube to get sermons. We will make available through our classes. We have an African history class on Saturdays from 12:30 to 1:30, I believe it is, available. We have other classes. All you have to do is, once you get online, go to linktr.ee/SOBM. I don't know, I could put it in the chat. But on there, you can send us your contact information and we can send you information so that you can get connected, so that you're in the loop. That's really what we want to do, continue to reach out to folks, make ourselves available, and provide education, content, and spirituality all in the same breath, and put people to work. We know ain't nothing getting done until we do the work. And that's one of the things that's why we've been kept a secret, because we've been so busy doing the work that you sometimes lose track. Time flies by. And that's really what's happened. But now we want to reach out. We want to gather more people, because we can put some of these people to work doing many things, right? And that's really that's our goal.
And before we go, because this is a content created space, what type of content would you like to see in the future as Bila Kuta develops? What are the types of content that you would like to see and like to be able to offer Black people around the world and give when it comes to Bila Kuta being in the social media environment?
So I believe that, and you touched on it earlier, we have to understand that we are divine beings. We want to make sure that people understand that they have the power in giving the right interpretation of who we are, our history, how we started in terms of our history and religion. We can do whatever we want, just like Jesus. Jesus told, if you have faith, you can heal yourself. If we eat right, work together, love one another, there is no limit to what we can do. So what we're going to do in terms of developing content is develop based on our needs. We need to have a safety net for our children. We need to have a space for our children to go in terms of getting out of the cities and out of this contaminated society. So Beulah Land will become a vehicle. Bila Kuta is another vehicle that can form groups of young people to strategize on things they would like to have, and then come up with their own content, as long as it's in line with our program. There are so many things we can do. Right now we have content to educate on the history of our history, and then also of African history. And then we want to provide people the understanding of who we are and what our position is, what our mission is. And those are the things we want to go forward with in terms of actually advertising Bila Kuta. And the church itself. That's really the goal. Is advertise Bila Kuta as another means to do that.
So is Bila Kuta considered a online group, or is it an extension of the online ministry?
We are moving to its own online ministry. We're still under the umbrella of the Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church.
Right.
We will become an institution just like any one of our other institutions.
Right, the institution without walls.
Correct. Yes, brother.
Beautiful thing. All right, and it's, with that being said, now, yeah, for me, and I'll talk. Again, I can talk forever, y'all. Yeah. Bila Kuta and Without Walls. I've been pushing technology in the community since 2003. pushing to the point where me being the one that will be used to call the younger generation.
Yeah, let me say this also. I want to say, so we meet. Bila Kuta meets every week.
There we go.
Time
Mm-hmm.
Right. So once you send me your contact information,
there we go.
To the meetings. I'm just speaking in general to folk who may be listening or may be streaming us. We appreciate Reverend Ajay because he's taken the initiative and has the skill set to put us online. And so we're going to be doing this on a regular basis. It may not be every week, but we will do this on a regular basis. Because we're going to strategize and find ways to do this better. But we're going to always be improving. This brother, he does this to us. So we appreciate it very much. And so that's our goal. We meet every week. If you go online and put your information in the portal, we'll reach out to you, invite you to our meetings, and then we'll move forward from there.
There we go. So y'all go on to the link tree. And even if you are a member and you in a different city and you happen to pop up, because we on multiple Facebook pages now, we're sharing if you see on this and you haven't been in contact with the community. Come on and join in. This is the shrine without walls. This is the true version of Pan-Africanism. It's the truest version of Garveyism. It's the true version of the liberation theology, and the truest version that you're going to find when it comes to the best self theology, becoming who God called you to be. This is the best place for it, and it's the best place to connect. The brother said, when I saw those people online on TV, I wanted to know who they were. And it is the experience where you can sit down and come in contact with those of us who are in multiple places of the diaspora. It is now time for us no longer to be the best kept secret. Technology has reached the opportunity where COR, which is community outreach, can give us and lead us to an exponential opportunity. I've always, when I dived into this experience, I said, I'm not going to be happy until we see numbers greater than Garvey. I'm not going to be happy. This is people say, why do you, when they understand how hard we fight, is because the sister who said, she said that fire, that joy, that love, that black love, when I walked in, I said, wow, I need this for the rest of my life. I'm not going anywhere. Not only that, I believe that everybody else should have the same experience of connection. It is time for us to live in the Bila Kuta experience without walls. Amen. I'm a switch over. I'm gonna do a closing, and y'all can do what you want to do.
I put the link tree website or the link in
link
the
in
chat.
there.
I don't know if everybody can see it.
See it. Let's see. All right, if Kareema's listening, can you copy and paste, or anybody listening? Y'all put the link tree in the comments inside your Facebook pages, so when people see it, they can get it. If anybody's listening, y'all do that. And we got quite a few viewers tonight, so y'all sit down and make sure we become a nation without walls. The Bible says, he said, I'm going to scatter Israel across the globe like the grains of sand. Are we not the grains of sand?
Come on, preacher.
Are we not the grains of sand? Right. And so when he said, I'm going to raise up a remnant, he didn't say it was just going to happen in Israel. There was no definition of how God said he was going to bring black people together where they're not under the foot of anybody's government that does not point directly to the Creator. We are the remnant. We are all over the world like the grains of sand. And it is time for us to build a borderless nation under God. Amen.
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 Shay.
All right, y'all. Y'all just met my church. So when they say, Brother the African, where you get it from? I truly tell you, I was manned up in the walls of the Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church, Shrines of the Black Madonna. And I continue, and it is my journey and my job to make sure that everybody that is breathing and ever finds the sound of my voice or the experience of our church to have this same experience. And with that being said, I say one love.
One love.
I think Jay's doing a closeout of the video. But we appreciate everybody that came on tonight. Thank you.
You know what? I just want to comment. A lot of times I trying to and I told them sometimes